sense maybe in the near future. So welcome, Greg.
Thank you, David. Hopefully,
great to have you with us.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you. So,
yeah, we got your slides there. If you could just, there we go. Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Greg. Over to you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. My name is Greg Charman. I'm the VP of Solutions and Services at Kelverion. So, yeah, I'm going to talk to you today about delivering service fulfillment with automation. From the other sessions today, I'm sure you've gathered what automation is and why it's important. And as Patrick's just said, it's how you can save money and drive your new business. But what you might have got the impression is that automation's a new thing. Automation isn't new. I've been working in companies that deliver automated service fulfillment for the last 14 years. What's new is up until last year, for most companies, automation was something nice to think about, something for tomorrow, and automation tools were a significant investment. And then, as everybody said, the pandemic hit. And all of a sudden, companies had to adopt remote working, cloud-based solutions, and the number of service desk requests rocketed. Responders to an App Dynamics study in 2010 reported their tickets had gone up by 86%. And the old service fulfillment model of wandering down the corridor and perching yourself on the end of somebody's desk and saying, John, you know how this gets done. Can you sort this out for me? Doesn't work anymore when everybody's working from home because there's no desk to wander to. Service management and IT now just have too much to do and can't continue to complete service requests manually. All of a sudden, automation is now business critical for every company. In the world of automated service fulfillment, end users can complete many of their requests via self-service, and first-line automation will deliver a lower volume of stuff to those tickets to the second and third line. And as yourself, David, mentioned earlier, in a poll earlier today by the SDI, 92% of the responders said that they're either trying to figure out where to begin with automation or they've got a lot to learn. Well, now in 15 minutes, I can't give you all the answers on how to automate service fulfillment. I can't even give you all the questions. But what I can give you is 14 years of experience summarized into a framework of tools, targets, and tactics for how you build out your own service automation project. So in your journey into automation going on from today, the first thing you're going to be hit with is tools. Everyone seems to have something, but they largely fit into four main camps. You've got point automation solutions, an existing vendor product which has added automation for their specific area. So virtualization platforms have added automation to virtualize the building of virtual machines. But that's the only thing they're good at. Doing anything beyond that is very complicated. You've got service desk workflows, lots of additions and developments going on in those areas and chatbots to help you get information into your service desk, move it around to the different teams so the right people pick up those requests, but they're not actually helping you fulfill and deliver the work. You've got robotic process automation tools to help you. Traditionally, they were moving business information from one system to another to get the right data into multiple tools. They also added in the ability to simulate human interaction to actually put data into tools in an automated data entry and rekey data between those different systems and platforms. And the final category was around IT process automation. These were the automation tools specifically built to take the work that we all do in IT and service desks of creating users, creating accounts, patching software, deploying software, and actually working out how you do that as a human being, and then automating that so that you don't have to do that work anymore. So those are the sort of tools that we're looking for to move forward with automation. Targets. When you talk about automation, what most people will typically do is talk to you about a tool or their tool that you can use for automation without telling you what you should be automating in your business. Well, I know what you should be automating, and in fact, I can even tell you where to find out the information in your business about what you should be automating. Today, you all have a service desk. That's why we're here. You log all of the work you do in your service desk. So run the reports off it. What are the top incident tickets that you get reported? when those tickets get in, what do you do with them? The sort of things you do is you run some diagnostics and you report that in the ticket. Well, automation can run diagnostics and report it in ticket. Then you have a first line fix. Automation can run that first line fix. What are the top tickets you get? What are the top service requests you get asked for? Is it creating users? Is it deploying software? Is it adding new services? Is it joiners, movers, leavers? You know, somebody joins from that HR system, create an AD account, create an Office 365 account, order a PC, deploy some software to it. All of those processes are the things that we can do with our automation. With the change requests, what are the change requests comes in? Because everything's got to have a change request to change the systems now or get something new. What are they? Where do they come from? Which ones take the longest? You know, simple things, or the sort of things that we get regularly asked for. It's like, I want to order a new SQL Server. Or what does that involve? That involves asking the Windows team for a virtual machine to get built into the virtualization technology. Then somebody's got a domain attach it. Then you've got to patch it. Then you've got to deploy SQL Server in it before you can hand it over to the person who asked for it to go, now go put some databases on it. Why do any of that configuration activity automatically? Manually, you can do it automatically with all those tools have got the capabilities to be able to told to go and do that. And that's what we're looking to do. So the targets for your automation processes, you already know. You have all the information. It's understanding how many did you get? How long do they take you to do today? What level of person is involved? Is it a level 1? Is it a level 2? Is it a level 3 type process? That gives you the time it takes and the cost it takes to do those tasks. Then you look at how long they take. If you've got a process like provisioning that SQL Server that takes 2 weeks to get built, if it's a 2-week process in automation, it's probably a 2-hour process, because in that time, it's not actually, doesn't take you physically 2 weeks to build stuff. It's the elapsed time between having the right people available to do the work when it actually needs to get done. And you need experts who understand the tools and have the highest levels of authority to actually get those stuff built. Those are the targets we want to automate and take away the need for those people to be doing boring, labor, repetitive, tennis elbow type tasks that you need to get done in your process. So tactics, how do we actually get this? So here are the top tips for actually achieving and moving forward from that automation. You've got the targets, so what are the tactics? Well, the key things that most organizers overlook when they're looking at automation: graphical authoring. A lot of people say, you know, most automation tools that you can have, a lot of them have got some form of pseudo programming language that you build out your automation in. Others offer you graphical authoring, so an image-based forms population type design approach with no code makes the creation of the automation runbook simpler. It doesn't require that advanced coding knowledge. It makes your ongoing support easier because you can see how it works and where it was done, and it sort of self-documents itself. And then it's easier to debug it because you don't have to be a code guru to fix it. Also means that you can use the staff who understand the process to build out that automation rather than trying to explain it to a developer who then goes away and does what they think you wanted. What you also need is supported integrations. Ready-built supported integrations keeps the cost down and makes them quick to implement. Also, the likelihood of discovering bugs is or snags in the integration you purchase is significantly reduced because they'll already be being used by somebody else elsewhere. Custom-built integrations will be more expensive. They'll take time to build and produce, and they won't have a track record, and often they fall on you to build them yourselves. Some systems wrap API calls with pseudocode to save you learning the API programming syntax, but you still have to understand in detail how that individual API calls actually work to make use of the functionality. One other thing is many systems will promote a suite of community-built integrations. Challenge with those is that you don't know who built them, you don't know how well they were tested, or whether they're even being maintained. Using a solution like this gives you the the problem of running the risk that you won't know if it works, and if it doesn't work, there might not be anybody else to support you and help you work out why it's not working. And you've got content. All the automation tools are out there. They are like a box of Lego. You can build anything with them if you know how. Many of the automation platforms are provided as a blank canvas. It's up to you to work out how to build something. What you want is, does your automation tool come with ready-built content, i.e. a set of instructions on how to build something with all this Lego, or even better yet, a set of pre-built Lego models that you can deploy, customize, and adapt? Why invent the wheel when somebody else has already done it? And now you can use that content to avoid falling in the same traps that everybody else has done. The people who've succeeded at this, and there are plenty of them, already have learned those, and you can guide and use that content that these platforms have got to get you forward and accelerated your own platform deployments and build from best practices. And finally, the big picture. Make sure the consideration is given to what companies often do when they start with automation is they get fixated on one use case and automating that one process. And then they pick a tool that does that one thing. And then when they come to look beyond that process, they get stuck because the tools they pick won't automate beyond that one thing. For example, one company I'm currently working with started their automation project looking to automate VM provisioning on their virtual estate. So that's what they went looking for. They had a session like this, they saw there were some tools, they went out looking for a tool that specifically did that, and the tool they chose and bought pertained to be able to do more than actually just provision VMs until they'd implemented it, and then they found it only worked well at provisioning virtual machines. And only on that one vendor platform. So it was particularly complex to get anything to do. So we're now working with them on other automation technologies, which allow them to automate all of their use cases and can do the VM provisioning as well. So what you want to do is pick an IT process automation tool that are available, which automates beyond one use case. You want that cross-platform, cross-use case type tools. And they're out there. There are plenty of that you can use that will give you that whole capability. So what are you looking from the tactics? What are the key points? You need to be looking at investing a tool that will automate a range of use cases rather than just a couple. Find if your supplier's got ready-made integrations and solutions, or if they will be developing from scratch. Spend time considering that bigger picture. Will this be for a specific project, or should be something look for a range of use cases? And check on the state of the support. Is the integrations and the products you're going to be using supported? How long for? And what does that support look like? From that bigger picture, you think of automation as a journey, and it's a bit like a big pizza. It's cut up into slices, and you can pick off each slice at a time, but you'll have multiple toppings. And if you pick the wrong base to start off with, you're not going to be able to put the different toppings on top of it. So you need that flexibility to be able to do everything. So you start with, I want broad breadth of capability of integration, content, and capability, and then start picking off the chunks individually. But what does it look like when it's actually in practice? So what we're looking to do is to take the complex world of IT and boil it down into a simple self-service interface that anybody can request IT tasks to do. Your automation ties into that self-service portal, and it integrates with your existing service desk, because that's where you track everything. It can import requests for approvals and logging. It can take out those requests and the requests submitted through the portal for automatic fulfillment. It then goes off and does all of those tasks for you that you're asked to go and do. And it can feed back and update you as to where everything was up to. So what isn't it? Well, it isn't buying a new service desk. It's wrapping your existing service desk in automation and self-service. It's about controlling the access and permissions that people need going forward to actually do things, because automation is going to undertake those tasks. So everybody doesn't need to be an IT admin going forward to get stuff done. So you can actually fulfill tasks automatically. And it's about empowerment, giving all users ability to do things for themselves and on behalf of others. So, in summary, it isn't new. Automation fulfillment isn't new. Automated fulfillment isn't a future or a pipe dream either. All companies in all sectors are already doing this. Many of them have already started down this path. Some of them are well advanced. It's available now, and you can modify your existing service desk and add automation around it and use the tools that you've already got in your business to be automated and fulfilled. So you don't need to go buy complete new sets of shiny kits to fulfill automation. It's around using what you've got and the processes you've got and doing the work automatically instead of manually. In that new world of remote working, automation has accelerated. It's accelerated the need for that automation, that self-service. And we now have got to do this because we're not all working locally. The amount of work we need to do is getting more complicated, and the amount of volume and stuff we're doing. So we've got to get on and do this automation. But it's about empowering the end users. If you can empower your end users to do stuff for themselves, you've got content customers, and you end up with a satisfied service desk team because they're able to get on and do interesting work and critical business activities rather than keeping the lights on and doing that manual repetitive stuff that we've all been left with all the time. And the other thing is that IT process automation delivers that service fulfillment in this new remote working paradigm, because automation can be done from anywhere, by anybody, whether it's at home or at work. You can deliver that whole process. So in 15 minutes, that's a very quick précis of all the things that you can do, and hopefully it's given you some ideas on how you can move forward and where you start with the automation. If you want some more information from me, there's my contact details. But if you want to actually see automation in practice, we've got a session that I'm going to be doing at the SDI Tools Demo Day, when I can actually show you the self-service and processes in real action, doing probably one of the largest use cases that most people want to do, which is joiners, movers, leavers automation.
So great stuff. That's great. Thank you very much indeed, Greg. So some sage words there. Let's look at. We've probably got time for a couple of questions, maybe one-ish. There's one question here about moving from on-premise to cloud, and whether holding off and waiting for that to happen would make any sense, or if there's a way to do some kind of hybrid automation as you move from on-premise to cloud. What would you say to that?
I would say that you don't want to wait for the cloud, because going forward, the move to the cloud will be a slow journey that people are working with, and the future is going to be hybrid technology, where some of the stuff you do today will stay on premise and more of the stuff will move into the cloud. There are tools and technologies that allow us to automate both on cloud, in the cloud, and on-premise technologies, and we can help you guide that process to be able to do that hybrid model. If you start now, you can start improving the way that you manage and administer your existing stuff, and as you move to the cloud, it's doing the same things. Some of that work is picked up by the cloud vendor, and other things you have to do because you have to tell it what to do. So we can make that migration. If you do the automation now, you can make that migration to the cloud seamless to your users, because they won't be aware that anything's changed. The self-service request looks the same. The questions that you ask look the same. Just happens to be we do it a different way now.
Yeah, and that would mean obviously that's a long term. So if you are moving sort of over time, then you'd be able to accommodate those changes over time as well, working in that hybrid sort of situation where bits of the service would move from one place to another to support that, again, without it being seen. Okay,
yes.
Good.
And the automation gives you the agility that the cloud does. The only difference between, if you pick Microsoft Office 365, for example, Exchange, SharePoint, everything else, you can have that turned on in 2 minutes for a user if you've got the right access. The only difference between them being able to do it and you being able to do it on premise is the fact that it's all automated.
Good. Well, that's great. Thank you for that, Greg. And yeah, great to see you join us again on the 22nd. So we'll look forward to that. So thank you for now, and we'll speak soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And okay, well, it's time for another break, another chance to grab some more refreshments before we move to the final section of today's event. So please join us back here at 2:35 for the next presentation from Heather Louise Finch, and we'll see you then. Thank you.